Where is he?
He's been preaching at his church.
Okay.
And so he's a little.
Oh yeah. You usually do this on Wednesdays, or try to.
We try to do Wednesday or Thursday, yeah, but it's not really that. It's just it takes a lot of prep and stuff like that. So he runs out of time. So.
Yeah, I got lots of prep in. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm literally
this is as good as it gets.
Yeah, that's a good call, Russell. Yep, all day long.
All right, here we go here. All right, what is up, America? Let's go. It is game time, fantasy game time this week. This is Russell Maven, Temple, Texas. My best friend Jay. That ain't no Jay Thompson, man. This is that ugly dude named Clint Dolezel, man. I done brought him back in here. Fighting Robinson Rocket back in the 80s.
Never quit.
And Philadelphia Soul head coach. And Arena Hall of Famer and cousin of assistant head coach for the Saints, Dan Campbell. How many more name drops can I do in one show, do you think?
That was pretty impressive. Was that a full 30 seconds?
Friend of Wendell Olson.
Who? Oh, Wendell. Yeah, I know Wendell. I'm sure he'll be peeping on here for a long.
It shouldn't take very long. So, hey, man, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. I mean, I've been running around everywhere. I had to go back and forth to Philly a couple of times to get some coaching stuff done. And
sweet.
I'm back.
Sweet.
Went fishing this morning and played golf. Good day. Good day.
Man, this is like a wrap to a good day right here, boy. Talk some football and fish a little bit and take in a little golf. Easy money. Easy money. Well, we like to start the show with a little. That's what I'm talking about. And so I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Last week was number 15 for the Cowboys, Devin Smith, coming in there, and there's a drop they do on one of the Cowboy shows like, who are you? So I don't have that one, but I'm not that cool. But Devin was a second round pick. He came out 16, 15, something like that, and tore a couple of ACLs, and everybody kind of forgot about him. And he ends up on the Cowboys roster, 90 man for the for the offseason. Works his way up, scores a touchdown in the preseason, scores another touchdown, is doing really well, makes the team, and then son of a gun if he didn't get in the game and score a 50-yard touchdown. I couldn't believe
who is that?
Everybody's looking at the thing. Is that Devin Street? Who is that? Who's 15? I don't know. So it is Devin, but it's not Devin Street because Devin Street wouldn't have made that play. But that was Devin Smith, ladies and gentlemen. So I was fired up about that. Did you see anything last week that kind of tickled your fancy on NFL games?
Man, not tickled my fancy, but just the quarterbacks going down. It hurts being an ex-quarterback. That's tough to see. I mean, there was some great names went down. Especially my Saints. Breeze going down. That's pretty rough.
Dan's job just got a little harder.
It did, but you know what? They got so many weapons. I think Bridgewater will be fine.
And they're talking about playing Taysom a little bit.
Well, they like him in those packages. I mean, he's a great player. I mean, every time he gets on the field, he makes plays. And when he's got the ball in his hands, you better be strapped up because he's trying to run over you.
I'm a University of Texas fan, so you don't have to tell me anything about Taysom Hill. I think he ran for about 4,000 yards one time against us in one game when he's playing for BYU. So, yeah. You don't have to tell me anything like that. But that was my next hot take was all the quarterbacks that are – we got Mason Rudolph, we got Luke Falk, we got Teddy Bridgewater, we got Kyle Allen, all starting games in the NFL this week. So how do you rank those guys in terms of how you think they're going to do fantasy-wise this week?
Well, it's just the prep. I would put Bridgewater up there just because of the weapons he has.
To me, it's coach too. I mean, because I think Peyton
right.
I think Peyton's going to he's going to find a way to get this guy to be productive.
Right. I think they'll definitely use him in some ways that they haven't used Breeze. Now that he's a starter, it's totally different being the starter and the backup. I mean,
for sure,
the starter gets all the reps. I mean, literally, you get a few here and there, but that's it. But
backup is more scout team, run the other team's offense.
It is. So, yeah, I'm anxious to watch him.
They seem to be pretty excited about Mason Rudolph, who lit it up at Oklahoma State a few years ago, and he played pretty well in relief of Ben Roethlisberger last week. You have any confidence in him?
I don't know. Do it when you're the starter. That's what I want to see because
when you got a week to prep,
right? Somebody actually gets to look at you now, the defense, and try to take away your strengths and fire everything at your weaknesses. So, we'll see with all these guys stepping in as backups and how they do.
For sure. The guys that I don't have very much confidence in, the guy I had the least confidence in is Luke Falk. I like Kyle Allen a little bit because DJ Moore's a first-round pick. Curtis Samuel showed a lot over the last couple of years, kind of starting to come around and embrace that role. He's got a trusty tight end, Greg Olson. He's got a guy to flip it to in the backfield, Christian McCaffrey. So
makes a difference.
I like, I don't mind Kyle Allen that much. I'd risk him. I'd risk Mason Rudolph. A little iffy on Bridgewater. I'm concerned about that, but I do like the coaching angle there. So that's good because Sean Payton he's amazing.
He's a genius.
He's a rich genius too.
He should be.
He got him a little pay raise recently, so that was good. So we're gonna look at these quarterbacks here. These are the 12 that we're gonna stay off of. And would you looky there at the very tip top? We got Pat Mahomes and Dak Prescott now, number 2.
Number 2.
That wouldn't have anything to do with playing the Miami Dolphins, would it?
Oh, for this week, for sure. I was like, well, maybe because you're a Cowboy homer.
No, this is not my stuff. These are not my list.
Absolutely, if he's
these are not my list. This then Lamar Jackson, and then Deshaun Watson, which I think that's real interesting because all of those guys are young and they're up and coming, and so I just think that's real interesting. And then we got the old guy. We got Brady, we got Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, and there's the old crowd. Then we got Carson Wentz, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray made the top 12 this week.
I can remember 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
I had one more to go.
But Brady was down like at 17. What happened?
We had to put him in our list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, we had to put him in our top 5 because he was available. So and then also Baker Mayfield. We're not going to mention anybody, any of those guys. So we gotta dig deep in the rosters here. So we're gonna dig up. The first guy I came up with that I liked was Matt Stafford at Philly. I was not expecting Darrell Bevell to throw the ball as much as he has for the Detroit Lions. Stafford's gotten 35 points a game so far, and they are way less run-heavy than I thought they would be, especially with Kerryon Johnson in there. They actually cut C.J. Anderson the other day. So I like Matt Stafford. I look at that game as probably going to be high-scoring. If it's at Philly, it's a tough place to play. There's going to be a lot of points going on the board, I think, for Philly. So I think that's going to be a good play for him to be behind and throwing in this game. What say you?
He's got some weapons too, and he's my backup in one of my fantasy leagues, and he's outscored my starters.
I hate
both games. It just drives me nuts. But I like his weapons. I do like the fact that they are tossing around the yard a lot, and
it's like the old school Lions where they used to throw it all the time.
Yep, and, it is tough at Philly, but they are going to probably have to keep up with them.
Philly, do you?
Yeah, just a little bit. I've been there twice in 2 weeks, and it's my off season. Yeah, I'm glad to be home. If I hadn't said that, yeah, that's a good pick.
Your wife's glad you're home too.
Yeah.
The next guy I like was Jimmy Garoppolo versus Pittsburgh this week. They put up over 40 last week, and he's got 4 touchdowns through the first 2 games, and his young wide receivers are starting to act like they've seen the NFL before. And they got the East Coast team in Pittsburgh having to go all the way to the West, and they got a brand new safety, Minka Fitzpatrick, that they just traded a first-round draft pick for. So I'm looking for a miscommunication here or there in the Pittsburgh secondary. I'm looking for the jet lag of going from Philly or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, go all the way to San Francisco, kind of hanging on the 49ers, and I look for Garoppolo to get him 3 touchdowns this week.
And guess who the backup is on my other fantasy team? Both those guys are my fantasy backups. And I thought beginning, when I did the drafts, I wanted Garoppolo as my backup in both of those because he does have some weapons. As long as he can stay healthy, they're going to put up great numbers all year long, I think.
Are your starters in our top 12?
They are.
Okay. Well, there you go. Then it's easy.
Well, actually, I lied. Well, I did on purpose. Watson is the starter. Stafford is the backup.
Okay.
The other one, you might want to just punch me right in the throat with this next one, is Cam Newton. I'm so done with him.
Bro.
I'm done with him.
Bro.
Garoppolo, you're my man this week, buddy.
Rivera walked out of a press conference today because somebody said the word Cam.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, I made that mistake myself, but I made it worse. But I'll tell you about that later. My third guy is Jacoby Brissett versus Atlanta. He's been doing a really nice job. I've been really kind of surprised. 28 points per game. He's got 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and he's run the ball a little bit. He's got 34 rushing yards, so he's out there. I mean, Dak had that in one play the other day. Did you see that game? Did you see that run that Dak made?
no.
The long one? Okay, he busts into the open on the zone read on a short yardage play, and he was gone. All he had to do, remember when he was in college, he would just run? Like, all he had to do was run. Instead, he kind of weaves over towards Josh Allen to give him a stiff arm. I'm like, what are you doing? Run away from that dude, man. Go score. But
I was just kidding. Yes, I saw the play. But
Yes.
I wanted you to relive it. Go ahead.
Come on, man. It was fantastic. But Brissett's been looking really good. I've been really impressed with how efficient he's been. And T.Y. Hilton hadn't missed a beat. He's been flying right along. So I like Brissett this week.
Me too. They've got a good run game, which helps set up a lot of the things that he likes to do. And when you got a number one receiver, in Hilton and some other weapons too. I mean, I mentioned, a couple guys. Golly,
In Indy?
what's their tight end?
In Indy, Ebron and
Doyle.
Doyle?
Yeah, both of them. I mean, so that's quarterback's best friend. If you can't get the ball to Hilton, they're protecting well. They're calling good plays for him. So, yeah,
What do you think he weighs?
he's a big boy.
That's a big dude, man.
He is a big guy.
I don't know what they list him at, but he looks like he's about 245 or something like that.
I was going to say 250, 255. Yeah. He's a big guy.
That's a big dude, man. I'm also taking Phillip Rivers this week. He's had 600 yards passing already and 3 touchdowns. But Eckler's been looking awesome, and I think he's going to be have a good chance to score some more touchdowns this week. And Deshaun Watson's played great, and I feel like they're gonna score with Hopkins and Kenny Stills and Will Fuller. So to me, I'm sticking with Rivers this week. They're going to have to keep pace this week. They're not going to be able to hang back. They're going to have to throw that ball and get in there and do it.
I hope it actually lives up to the hype. I want a shootout. I mean, I've seen a couple of these games where, oh man, I can't wait to see some fireworks and nothing, duds. Rivers is always going to put up good numbers, I think, and he's doing it different ways.
I always feel like you can write his stats down for the end of the year at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
It's going to be 4,500 yards. It's going to be 31 touchdowns almost every year.
he's steady.
And he's got more kids than me. If you can believe that.
He's got more than a baseball team?
Yeah. He actually has just the baseball team with just the kids. Me and my wife, we have to come in to pitch. So last guy I'm taking is Baker Mayfield. He started to figure it out again this past week with OBJ. And so he's got 600 yards in 2 games, but he's only got 2 touchdowns. I look for that to change this week. The Rams gave up 27 points to your Cam Newton-led Panthers a couple of weeks ago. So I'm feeling if you want a shootout, that might be your chance right there.
Ooh, I'm a little leery of that, just for the simple fact I know the Rams are going to figure their defense out. They've got just too much, firepower over there to keep giving up they play some pretty good offenses too.
You're talking about the Rams defense?
Yes, correct.
Gotcha.
So I think, I hope it's a shootout too. I'm an arena football guy. I want to see, I want to see some
They've
scoring.
run 4 plays.
I don't want to see
Why have they
10 to
not
6
scored?
games. Right. So that would be my only drawback on that is I think what's their defensive tackle
Aaron Donald.
Is he hurt?
He's nicked up. I don't know if he's playing this week or not.
That would be. I would change my tune if that was the case. If he wasn't playing,
he's fairly good at football.
he's the best at his position, hands down.
He's probably the best at any position in the league. That guy's nasty. That is nasty. So, just a quick reminder: we gave you Stafford, we gave you Garoppolo, we gave you Brissett, we gave you Rivers, and we gave you Mayfield right off the top at quarterback as your sleepers. And we're going to move on to some running backs. The guys we're not going to touch: Zeke, Dalvin Cook, who's looked really good.
Sure has.
Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, he's fairly good at football. Nick Chubb, David Johnson, Alvin Kamara. Aaron Jones is back in the top 12. Somebody asked a question about Aaron Jones last week. He is back. Austin Eckler's in the top 12 this week. Chris Carson. and Mack and Bell.
Wow,
So,
Mac, good for him.
Yeah. So, pretty good little list there. So I had to go down. We had to start digging down and trying to find some guys. So I started off with Chris Thompson. I used him last week, but this time we're going against Chicago, and I figure they're probably going to, with that nasty defense, they're probably going to shut down AD, and they're going to be forced to pass. Well, Thompson's already leading the league in targets amongst running backs.
Is he really?
So if you have a PPR, play Chris Thompson this week because it's going to be check down city around there in playing Chicago. So Chris Thompson, I love him because he has a high knee lift. He looks like Jamal Charles and Roger Craig and those kind of cats. I love it. Right. So I'm going Chris Thompson this week.
I mean, you're right. They are going to be chasing. I don't think they're going to have any kind of. I just don't know if he's going to be getting the end zone. I think he's going to catch a lot of balls. I just don't see them scoring very much.
If it's PPR, half point PPR, Chris Thompson's a safe bet.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay. I tell you somebody that was not in the top 12 is Todd Gurley, and he's I don't get the opportunity to put his name out there very much because he's always in the top 12. Well, he's kind of had a slow start, and they've been splitting carries, but I think he got in the end zone last week, and I think he's kind of starting to get his legs under him a little bit, so maybe he can have a multiple touchdown game this week on the road in Cleveland, which they always seem to have a lot of talent, and they always are not solid in defense. So I'm going Gurley this week.
Yeah, I mean, anytime he's not up in that top 12, that means I don't
Take
get
a
it.
shot while you can.
I know that thinking Cleveland's defense is supposed to be pretty good, and I'm pretty sure that's why they put him down there. And the fact you mentioned, I think it's 2-1, meaning he's getting 2 series versus 1 series. For Brown,
for Malcolm Brown.
I mean, I think he had 1 touchdown last week. I think he'll get 2 this week. So yeah, I think that's good.
That'd be awesome. I'll take it.
And you put time for multiple touchdowns. So yeah,
it absolutely is.
Good call.
I like Mark Ingram again this week, man. Baltimore runs the ball, and I think that's going to be the way to try to go at Kansas City this week.
Keep them off the field.
I know Lamar Jackson's done well, but I don't want to get into a shootout with Pat Mahomes in Arrowhead. No, thank you. I have no interest in that at all. That's like inviting disaster to me. So I think they're going to try to slow this game down a little bit, run that ball at them, and make them stop it.
They should, but Baltimore's defense is really good.
Oh, they are.
And I say that, and lo and behold, the college group that went out there and put a lot of points on them, or moved the ball a lot. And let's say that. I don't know how many points they put on them, but they almost beat them. Talking about the Cardinals last week.
The college group. That's dirty, man.
Well, I mean, that's college head coach, college quarterback right out, fresh out, and they're
rookie receivers.
Doing it. Yeah. So they look all right. So I love Ingram, and I started looking up top. Who?
When is that guy going to slow down? He seemed to start slow in his career, but he's been money the last few years.
He's always been good. I mean, I know he's been in Kansas. The Saints, but he puts a touchdown every week when he was with them, and now he's the guy. He's gonna have a big year.
I hope so, man. Took James White versus the Jets. To me, they have different running backs all the time, and he's the only guy that's like there every week, performing every week, doing their thing. 1 week it's Burkhead, 1 week it's Damian Harris, 1 week is James White. The next week they'll give the ball to Brandon Bolden or somebody like, when did he come back on the team?
Right.
And it's just like, come on, man. So he's the only one that I really kind of trust because he's going to get targets and he's going to be part of the pass game. And last week he ran the ball in. So I know it was the Dolphins. I know. But he ran it in.
Did you run one in too last week against them? You will this week.
Poor Dolphins, man. What if? All right.
They shut it down.
Okay.
When they did that trade,
but
they shut it down.
You've been on teams that stunk.
Not that bad. But yeah, been on some.
But what do you even say? I mean, if you're the coach of that team and you already know what the deal is, how can you honestly address that team and be taken seriously?
He's not. That's the problem. He lost he lost that team somewhere during camp because after the first game, players were trying to get out.
I mean, they were.
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, me either.
So there was something gone wrong during camp. He lost connection with his players somewhere. I don't see how.
Okay, so
keep doing this.
The next question would be, how long do you think he's going to stick around?
Not long. If this keeps up, and you're having players try to do that, and I hope this is not the week because I'm in this shootout thing. This suicide.
Oh, the suicide one.
And
yeah.
I'm picking the Cowboys this week.
Oh, bro.
My gosh!
Bro.
I'm gonna tell you what, I'm never coming on this show again if they lose, ever.
I had the privilege of listening to the Cowboys try to break down the Miami offense yesterday on their podcast. They go, guys, I don't know what to tell y'all.
They're sorry. That's what
he goes, it's not great. They're averaging 5 points a game. They're 32nd in the league in offense. They're 30 yards a game rushing and 160 passing, and their offensive line has a bunch of guys I've never heard of, and they have to throw wide receiver screens all the time because they can't protect the quarterback long enough. I'm like, okay, that's a heck of a scouting report.
I mean, where do you start? It's you're looking at draft picks for next year. That's
I know
that's
that,
all
but
you
you got 14 games left to coach, though. How do you address those people in the locker room with a straight face?
You don't. It's going to be a disaster. It'll be interesting to watch. There'll be a change soon, I would think, if something.
He just got there 15 minutes ago.
I know, but so you miss on players, first round draft.
Speaking
picks.
of missing on first round draft picks, they just picked up Taco Charlton, which saved us $4.5 million. We'll see you Sunday, Taco.
Yeah, poor Taco.
Oh, Taco. All right, the last guy I took at running back was Matt Breida versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been wiggling, and he looks like old Swivel Hip Smith on the old Goofy cartoon out there, man. That guy's been just wiggling and doing his thing, and so he's the healthiest running back they got. He catches the ball out of the backfields, and they put up 40 points last week. Crap, let's go. It's not like Pittsburgh's been dominating defensively, so I'm going for it.
They're not quite Kansas City or the Rams. But they're going to, halfway through the season, remember I said that they're going to have a bunch of players with a lot of fantasy points just because of Garoppolo, as long as he can stay healthy, and the weapons they have. Again, no name stars for the most part.
Not yet.
No, but they're getting there.
Yeah.
Breida did well last year. I mean, he
just gets hurt every game.
And that's a lot of people. That's Garoppolo. I mean, there's a lot of people getting hurt. So seems like everybody is this year, but yeah, I liked him last week, and I got talked out of playing him in one of my other things I do as far as fantasy football too. And he's like, "Man, we should have played him." I go, "Yeah, we should."
Yeah, we should have. Why didn't you listen to me? That's what you should have said. All right, so at running backs, we gave you Thompson, Chris Thompson, Todd Gurley, Mark Ingram, James White, and Matt Breida. So go check those out, and thank you, Sean Cheek, for the feedback on the show. We appreciate it. Back in the day, he also went to Robinson High School while we were there. He graduated with me, and he is the most musically talented person that I know. So don't forget about our contact info. This is Fantasy Game Time. We can be found Fantasy One Game Time on SoundCloud and YouTube, and Fantasy Game Time on Facebook. Moving on to some wide receivers. What you got, my man? You ready for this? All right, we got Julio. We got Nuke. We got OBJ. We got Adams. We got Amari. We got Keenan Allen. We got Mike Evans. We got Michael Thomas. We got Godwin. Everybody's on the Godwin train now. You got Juju. We got Watkins. And look who's back in the top 12, Antonio Brown. Booming. Antonio Brown. Bada boom, bada bing.
How's Juju up there? Has he caught a ball this year yet?
I guess they're still feeling like he's going to be good. And I guess people have a lot of confidence in Rudolph.
Okay.
We got more good feedback coming in from an Alex Vortikins. I don't know if you ever heard of him. I don't know if you ever seen him before.
Saw him last year at the old 30-year reunion. It was good seeing all those.
Not 30.
Was it 40? Don't say that.
All right, man. I'll tell you who I took this week, and that was Tyler Lockett against. Oh no, it's against them dudes right there.
I have him in. I hope that's fine. Hope he catches 4 touchdowns as long as the Saints win. I don't care.
Well, well, he's drawing P.J. Williams this week, who's 37th out of 42 on the slot corners in the league, And Lockett had 10 receptions last week. I look for him to get 7 or 8 again this week. So I'm digging on Tyler Lockett this week.
I need him in the end zone.
Me too.
I'm in none of mine are PPRs, so I need touchdowns. I know they're boring. I've been one since 1997, and it's old school.
Y'all probably started with a newspaper and a
it was. We had to
notebook.
Look it up. I mean, it wasn't. You didn't find stats anywhere.
Oh man, I'm working with a dinosaur, guys. All right. Next guy I took was Brown versus Cincinnati. Now, because if you think about Cincinnati, they gave up a ton of points this past week, and John Brown has been getting down that field, and he's got a quarterback that's not that accurate, but man, he can throw it a long way. And so John Brown, I feel like, is going to get behind some of these Cincinnati defensive backs, pull up a big play for you, and put up some yards. He's really been Josh Allen's number one guy so far this year. And really, he's another guy, kind of like Breida. When he's healthy, he's money. He's good to have in there.
He is. And with Allen, because he likes to move around some, that gives him a little time. And, Brown's so fast, he can get by you, and next thing you know, you throw a bomb. And
normally, when the quarterback scrambles, you're going to want to come back to him. That dude goes the other way.
Yeah, because he's got a cannon. That's a great combination.
It is. It's kind of a perfect storm because they got Beasley underneath to kind of suck up the linebackers and the safeties and boop, pop it over to the top. Yeah. Another guy that's been doing well for me so far this year is Calvin Ridley at Indianapolis this week. Another game where I feel like they're going to score. There's going to be quite a bit of scoring going on. He's 12-16 this week, so he's only been off target 4 times all year, and he scored 2 touchdowns. A real acrobatic one last Sunday. I really like the Atlanta offense. I think there's a lot of players there, so I feel like that's going to be a high-scoring game. Take the over, and so I like old Calvin Ridley this week.
Yeah, I had him last year. I picked him up about halfway through the season, or maybe a little earlier than that. Man, he can go. And the great news is Julio's going to get all the attention, rightly so. So that leaves one-on-ones with him, and
for sure,
that's a tough matchup. Sanu's been kind of getting left out in the cold because of Ridley, and it's well-deserved. That guy can go.
Did you know he's the same age as Amari Cooper?
Ridley came out the same year?
No, they came out like 3 years different, but Ridley was old when he came out, 24 or 25, and then Cooper came out when he was like 12. So
right.
He came right out of junior high. Oh yeah. So the next guy I liked. I went from the young guy to the old guy. I went to Larry Fitzgerald. That dude's had 24 targets this year. 24 targets already in 2 games.
If I was a rookie, I would too.
Yeah, I'd be like, where's 11?
Where's my tight end, or where's Fitzgerald?
Yeah, where's 11? I know that dude won't drop it. I get it anywhere in his vicinity, he's going to catch it. Yeah. And I was really kind of surprised at how well they've adapted. He's adapted to their offense, with it kind of being kind of the newfangled thing or whatever, and him being the older
routes
player.
Are routes. That guy's, you'd want 53 players just like Fitzgerald on your team.
Sure.
He's just good as gold. He's a locker room guy.
Oh yeah.
He makes he's just going to go do his job. He's not going to raise any rift, and he's just.
You never hear a contract negotiation with that guy.
He's so good in many ways.
For sure. Used to be a ball boy for the Vikings back in the day too. The last guy I'm going to take is kind of pulling on the heartstrings. I had him in a dynasty league several times. Emmanuel Sanders at Green Bay. You want to talk about tearing an Achilles? I think in October or November last year, and already back, already scoring touchdowns. He's already had 20 targets. I think they're going to be behind at Green Bay. And even though they got Joe Flacco, he's been really looking for number 10 out there. So I love Emmanuel Sanders this week.
I do too, and they're protected for the most part. They're
holding a little too much, Mr. Bowles, but
that's part of it. It's not holding unless they call it, but that's definitely.
That dude must have had 5 holding penalties last week.
As long as he's not getting hit, that's probably what they're telling me. Don't you let him get hit, because if he
gets
goes
hurt,
down,
you're playing quarterback.
We're done. So I was pretty impressed with them last week. They should have won the ball game.
Oh,
it was It's amazing how many games you've had like that this year already. Just somebody, you think it's over, and they go down and score.
Especially when you get Chicago making a long field goal. You're like, that doesn't even sound right.
Right, after last year's debacle.
You thought when they kick field goals, the cheerleaders move and turn around and look.
They just start going home. It's over.
So that's it on the receivers. We got Tyler Lockett. We got John Brown. We got Calvin Ridley. We got Larry Fitzgerald. We got Emmanuel Sanders this week for wide receiver. Tight end, we are not going to touch Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Zach Ertz. Mark Andrews has been money this year. Good night. Evan Ingram, O.J. Howard, who got shut out last week, and these turkeys still think he's good. They put him in their top 8. And then Waller, who's played well for Oakland, and then Greg Olsen, who's going to be probably Kyle Allen's safety blanket this week. So we can't do any of those guys. The first one that I put down was Hooper, Austin Hooper, who's like 14 years old, and he's already playing well at tight end. He's at Indianapolis. Like I said, I like the matchup. I'll take the over anyways, but Indianapolis is also giving up the most yards to tight ends all year long. So sign me up for some Austin Hooper.
Good to know. Yeah, I mean, it's pick your poison with them. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the Rams. It's kind of like what it was Kansas City too, where you don't know. In running backs for New England, you don't know who's going to get it.
Right.
I mean, they've got so many weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, Sanu might show up this week, and no one's going to have him out there because he hadn't done anything the first couple of weeks. But he could. So
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to sling the ball around, and it could be a big point game.
All right. I like it. I'm also going to go with Vance McDonald at San Francisco. Played 91% of the snaps last week, so he's not got a whole lot of competition. They got a new quarterback. He needs a safety blanket. They're going to be on the road. They're going to be across the continent. They're going to be against San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going to score. They're going to have to be throwing. I like him to be running more routes than blocking this week. What do you think?
Well, he caught 2 last week, didn't he? Did he catch 2 touchdowns last week?
Yeah, I think so.
It always scares me when somebody does well the week before. If they're not
especially tight end that's touchdown dependent.
Right, very much so. But he is. You said it. I mean, he's on the field all the time, and they're going to have to go score some points.
There's going to be some routes run this week.
And the quarterback's best friend is a tight end. So
absolutely
can't go wrong.
Tell you another guy that is a touchdown dependent, but this son of a gun hardly caught a pass in college, like at all. Will Dissly from the Seattle Seahawks versus the Saints. Not hating on your Saints. But he's played 6 games in the NFL and scored 4 touchdowns. And this dude caught 14 passes in college. It's in the teens. I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 14. He caught his whole college career, and he's done nothing but catch touchdowns in the NFL, and he's been getting yards too. So I like Will Dissly this week in a high scoring game, I believe, against the Saints.
Yeah, how tall is he?
He's a typical tight end. He's like 6'5". He's a big dude.
Yeah, I thought he was actually taller than that. I mean, I see him out there on the field. He looks so tall compared to everybody else, and
coming from a dude that's like 6'5", yeah.
But my wife's like, when she's around me and the football players, she's like, "You're just a normal guy." She's like, till she gets around not football players, then she goes, you are a little.
I guess you are.
You're kind of freakishly tall.
I guess you're tall. I don't know. I guess that's why our kids are tall, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, all right.
Who's that guy?
Oh, Jordan Dolatina. Jordan Dolatina comments, "This show is better than Thursday Night Football," which that's not been hard to do lately because it's been bad. It's been bad. The last guy I picked was Jason Witten versus Miami, just because, and this is not probably the thing to do in the NFL, but I think they're trying to get him the all-time Cowboys record for receiving touchdowns. He's 3 away. And
they're trying to get it done.
They're trying to get it done. They're trying to get it knocked out.
In the first 5 weeks.
I don't know, but they got down close, and they just said, "Hey, look, you're a big body. We'll just let you go down there and rebound this ball for us." I remember I saw the sideline deal from week 1, and they were about to run the play that got Witten the touchdown week 1, and he was like, "Do you want me to go in?" And they go, "We don't care." And he's like, "I don't care, whatever." And they're like, "Go." So, I mean, it was literally like, "Do you want me to score this touchdown, or would you like for me to stay here and let him score this touchdown?" You know, and Jarwin already had one at that point, so they're like, "Yeah, go ahead." So, I just feel like they're trying to feed it to him. And
well, he's still very good. I mean,
he is.
That's what he's good at. You know, like nothing past 10 yards. I mean, he's
not got a lot of yak.
I've always called him Lack-a-Yak Witten.
Lack-a-yak, baby.
I mean, he's not. If he catches it going left or right, that's where he's going to end up. Laterally.
I always liked it when Romo caught him down the seam because you get that big boy rolling and it's a problem for a safety. But that just doesn't happen much anymore. It's always like he stopped when he gets the ball. I'm like, don't throw him those kind of passes, man.
He's, a lot of it too, though. The beauty of Witten is he's such a team guy. He'd love to, make a bunch of moves and go somewhere, but he's always protecting the ball too. And that's
right.
He rarely fumbles the ball
right.
when he's got it in his hands. So that's a plus. We look at the negative part of no yards after the catch, but he's taking care of the ball, and that's what he's supposed to be.
He is. And we don't expect him to break off 60-yard runs and stuff like
those
that.
Days are over.
Unless his helmet comes off, and then it's all bets are off. All right. So our next segment here is Skin It. And that's where you take somebody that you just like, man, I don't have any idea. Just let that baby fly, and maybe somebody will catch it. And that's literally what I think is going to happen here. So my Skin It for this week is a guy that did well last week and is in an increased role, is old Devin Smith. He's basically taken Gallup's role, and Gallup has been killing it this year. So I have a feeling Devin Smith is going to have a big game. And I don't know if you know this, it's the Dolphins, man. It's the Dolphins. They've given up 59 and 43. I have a feeling we might score some points this week.
I would think that we are going to score some points this week. You're right.
We.
I mean, I feel bad for Gallup, because I think it's only going to be a couple weeks, but he's got it going, and
chemistry.
They're rolling. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people said and bet on him being, a really, have a good season just because, again, anytime you got a number one like, Cooper on the other side and, Julio Jones is that you're gonna only get single coverage, and that's the beauty of it. And
you're not going to let that guy. You're not going to let Cooper beat you. That's stupid.
Right. Now he's a solid player. I mean, I think he's a solid 2 player this week as a receiver.
Oh yeah. Which he wasn't even a 2 on the team, a couple of weeks ago. So it's pretty awesome. Our next segment is called "You're a Daisy If You Do." That means don't play these people. And I just said people that catch the ball for the Jets for this week. Okay, I got no confidence in the Jets against the Patriots this week. If you got Robbie Anderson, you got Jamison Crowder and them kind of cats, man, I wouldn't play them this week, man. The Patriots are playing some nice defense this year so far, and I look for them to kind of be in a pretty salty mood come Sunday. Bell
will catch 15 balls in that game. They tried to force feed him every way possible. When he got hurt last week.
Can you take the direct snap? Okay, do that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they're trying to get the ball, and they should. I mean, he's a great ball player, but man, yeah, they're not very good.
All right, our next segment is called and that just means somebody that. You know what? If you got him in a redraft league, you could probably cut him at this point. And this is a guy that I'm so glad to be saying this because I have so many opinions about this cat. But Elisha Manning, well, bye. Smelled like somebody died.
You know why? When I saw that, it didn't surprise me. Because of all the
that early?
Yes. Here's why. Because of all the starters that went down, I think they want to use him for a trade.
Eli?
Yeah.
Well, the crap, there's plenty of people that would need him right now.
That's my point. I think that's why they did it. So if he's a
doesn't
backup
get hurt
now,
yeah.
Right. So I mean, he can come in and weather the storm for several teams that need a quarterback.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about teams that
and they have 3 on the roster.
Okay, so let's talk about teams that might be might be candidates here. Do you like him in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. They have the weapons.
You think that Pittsburgh would rather play Mason Rudolph or Eli Manning?
Are you just shutting the season down? That's the question.
And clearly
you
not
ask
if they're
yourself.
trading a first-round pick for Minka Fitzpatrick.
That's my point. So, yeah, you go get Eli.
Okay, what about the Saints? Do you go get Eli?
Not with Bridgewater. I think Bridgewater will be fine. They
The
have
Jets,
what they need.
Luke Falk.
I'd say no, only because Donald's not going to be out that long. I mean, I don't know what his timetable is.
He's saying week 5 at the earliest.
Is your season over if you don't win another game between now and then? So maybe you do.
Okay, so maybe the Jets. Okay, and maybe the Steelers. What about Carolina?
They're not doing it in Carolina.
Cam
There's no
Newton
way.
looks broke. He looks broken.
He does. Mentally, he looks broke too. That's
He
my
does.
thing.
He does.
Oh, there's more teams than that. Who are we missing?
No, you're talking about the hurt quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's the hurt ones right there. I don't know. I'm trying to come off the top of my head, but I think that's it on the hurt guys right now.
It wouldn't shock me to see him on another team next week.
You know who he's better than? Mitch Trubisky.
No, you didn't say that last year, did you?
No, I've thought Eli Manning has been garbage for about 6 years.
No, I'm not talking about Eli. I'm talking about Trubisky.
Trubisky has played like hot garbage this week.
This year, yeah,
this
far.
year,
But
yeah.
Did he last year?
He played a lot better last year than he did this year.
Okay, so it's
By
early.
a
They're
long
still
shot.
trying to figure things out. Don't hate on my old AFL head coach down there. You know, we played against each other. He'll figure it out.
Who, Nagy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
Come
played
on.
for the Columbus Destroyers.
Oh, come on. They were talking about on one of the Cowboys podcasts between Will McClay, Jay Gruden, and there was somebody else. They won like 10 Arena Bowls in a row. They were involved in 10 championships in a row in the Arena League. They were going through
As
the
a
years.
coach?
No, as either a player or a coach. They were talking about how they were all one of those guys was on a team. It was Will McClay, it was Jay Gruden, and it was somebody else.
Jay Gruden.
Huh?
For sure, Jay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jay. Yeah. But they were. But he was talking about how Jay was leading quarterbacking teams to championships and stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the early '90s.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like that.
they definitely they were the class of the Arena League when he was playing quarterback. I mean, they had the coach Tim Markham, who the legend in arena football, and they were always good. And he's a fiery quarterback. He didn't do anything flashy. He just won.
It's one of those. It might not be pretty, but we're going to win.
Yeah, he was tough.
Cool, man. All right. Well, our next segment here is, man. You know what? I'm gonna have to bake you a cake, man, because somebody that did good unexpectedly,
Picked him up.
and this one
got
just
him.
it makes my heart hurt. I have a Superflex Dynasty League where we did our original draft, and I picked this guy like 22nd, 23rd round, DeMarcus Robinson, way back, and he didn't do anything the first couple of weeks, so I dropped him and picked somebody else up, and I'm just going to move around and do this and that and the other. And then this dude breaks out for like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, and every time I turned around, that dude's catching another ball, and I'm just sitting there going, I could have traded this guy for a first-round pick.
Right.
So, but DeMarcus Robinson, man, I might have to bake you a cake, man. You done hooked us up out of the blue right there.
I need you to keep it up, big fella. I'll bake you 12 cakes. You just keep it up. I need a win this week.
I heard Tyreek Hill was dribbling a basketball in the locker room with both hands today. So that shoulder can't be hurting too bad.
Oh, no.
So
Stay in there. I need to mark it. You got the other, what's the other receiver too?
Watkins,
No.
Hardman.
Hardman. I mean, they've got some weapons. They're deep.
They are. Hardman, I think, when he starts figuring out intricacies of routes and concepts, defensive concepts, he'll be nasty in that offense. Our next segment here is, really, man, really, and really has to do with tonight's game, actually, and that is Jalen Ramsey asking for a trade. I don't recall him asking for a trade in 2017 when they were going to the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots. He was busy trash talking quarterbacks and acting a fool.
He wants to win.
That's fantastic. So do everybody on the Dolphins. But sometimes you get the crap kicked out of. Oh, I think they do. The coach doesn't.
I don't think they do. You know what? When Foles got hurt, Ramsey said, I've had enough. I'm tired of losing.
Tired of losing? He got drafted in 2016. Come on, man. He went to the AFC Championship game 2 years ago. Quit whining, you big baby.
Oh,
do your job.
Did we know exactly what that started? Was it because he wanted to challenge? Is that 100% the argument? Do you know?
I don't, because I'm not on Jaguars talk. I listen to Cowboys talk, but the guy to me is and to me this is a bad trend going on right now. It's like, oh, we're not going to win. All right, I'm out of here. It's like at the NBA. Let's all go get on the same team, and I don't know, man. He just
it's the way of the world.
Yep. He gets on my nerves. All right, the last thing that we got here is the Cowboy Minute, and I could take about the Cowboy Hour right now because I am loving life. But I will say this:
they better win.
I'm cautiously optimistic that things are going to stay the same, and we're going to keep going. The defense to me has not done what I thought they were going to do. We still had a little bit of trouble with the run 2 weeks ago, and we have great cover corners, but nobody's a ball hawk. The only ball hawk we have, we never put him on the field hardly, and that's Jordan Lewis. And so I'm cautiously optimistic. I love Chris Richard. I love Rod Marinella. I love what Kellen Moore's doing with the offense. I got no confidence in Jason Garrett.
I'm with you.
He's too conservative. He's too stubborn. But Dak's playing great. I think our depth is going to be tested over the next couple of weeks, and I think it's going to show up. But cautiously optimistic on the Cowboys.
Well, that depth should get a lot of playing time this week.
You think?
They should get some experience, game time experience.
I tell you, these are inactives right now. I can tell you right now, these people are going to be inactive on Sunday. Xavier Woods, Antoine Woods, Michael Gallup, Tyrone Crawford, right there. And there's 4 key contributors on the team, 4 of them. So their other inactives are going to be easy because they got like 5 guards. So, okay, are you 2 right there? There's 2, and then 1 other guy. So everybody's up, all hands on deck this week. So we'll see what happens.
And they need to win. It's all I got. It's just win.
It's the Dolphins.
Just win.
It's the Dolphins.
The world will be all right if the Dolphins win, and then they'll think, oh, we got it figured out.
So who did you take the first 2 weeks in that league?
I took Baltimore because I saw what Miami did. I said I should take.
You just following the Dolphins
That's
around
what I
now?
should do. I didn't last week. We're back on it. But it's one of these where in the first 7 weeks you have a mulligan. So if you lose one, you paid for this mulligan. So I didn't want to take too many good teams early on.
Sure.
To save them for my towards the end.
Sure.
So I didn't take New England last week, which was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I ended up taking the Texans. Thank goodness they missed that 2-point conversion.
It was about 2 inches.
So mad. My wife was like,
it was about 2 inches.
You need to leave.
That's awesome. See, that's why I'm glad I don't bet on football, because if I'd have been in that situation, I'd have had the Texans, and it came down to an inch on a call on a 2-point conversion. I'd have a heart attack on the couch right there. My wife had to come give me CPR.
Yeah, I was not really excited. My wife says, "Yeah, I couldn't bear it," because we were watching it. We were doing the fantasy on our computers too, and watching the game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's ahead. And I heard her go, "Oh no!" I was like, "What?" I'm so mad. Yeah. So I had to leave the house for about an hour. We were yelling at each other.
That's awesome.
Over fantasy football.
That's it. Go to marital counseling. What's the problem? Well, you see, on my fantasy team. Whoa, we're talking about what's fantasy? Is this some sort of a game y'all play? No, it's fantasy football. We'll be okay. Anyways,
right.
Well, that's cool. Well, want to thank Clint Dolezel for coming on my show, man. This is two times in 3 weeks. Hopefully, we get Jay Thompson back in here next week, show him how it's done. And
we need to bake him a cake.
We're gonna bake Jay a cake, man. We're gonna mess around and get him squared away. But thanks for coming in and filling the gap. And man, I ain't seen you once in 30 years. I've seen you twice in 3 weeks.
Look at it. Like you just never left.
It's just like playing for Lankert Cotton Gin there in the Little League in Robinson, Texas, man. You know what I'm saying?
Loved it.
Oh, too good, man. So that's it, America. If you don't win this week, man, it ain't our fault. We did the best we could. Be sure to stay tuned to future podcasts at Fantasy One Game Time on SoundCloud and YouTube, and Fantasy Game Time on Facebook. If you stop by for any time at all tonight to listen to us, we appreciate it. We know your time is precious, so we appreciate any support that you give us. So speaking on behalf of my longtime buddy Clint Dolezel, this is Russell Maben, Temple, Texas, leaving you with the same truth we always leave you with. We love football. We just love Jesus more. Y'all have a good week.